Dudes, I don't know about this.
I peek into the bathroom, watching as Carl stares at himself in the mirror, running his fingers through his hair.
I'm sure you look fine. Easy for you to say. You can't even grow hair.
Carl sets the trimmer down, running his fingers through his beard.
You tell him, Chase.
Carl looks at me and I have to agree that he looks quite a bit better. You look fantastic. A lot cleaner.
Thanks. Now, you might want to get the gamer stink off of you. You smell like JRPGs and energy drinks.
What does that mean?
You walk into a GameStop and you just huff the JRPGs. Like there's a section that just smells like something different, I guess.
I'm just you smell like JRPGs.
Why JRPGs? Like, why does it have to be that kind specifically? You can't just say like you smell like.
Here, I brought you a metaphor.
You can just say like, oh, you have a gamer smell, and I guess that would normally kind of work. You don't have to specify that it's specifically JRPGs.
Yeah. It's like, wow, you smell like a PAX elevator. I find myself snickering, though Carl doesn't look anywhere near a point of laughter. He just quietly shuts the door in my face.
So, Chase, didn't expect I'd see you again.
I look over to Daxton, who's standing beside the bathroom door with his arms crossed. Neither did I. Carl asked me to come over, so I did. Daxton nods. You think he's got this?
I haven't known Carl long enough to say, really. I hope he does.
I can't help but thinking a lot of things could go wrong, you know? Carl doesn't get out much.
It's weird thinking about the future like that, isn't it?
I cock my head some at the amphibian's direction. What do you mean?
The infinite possibilities of things that can happen.
So, expect the worst?
With an infinite number of timelines, there's no such thing as a worst-case scenario, just an infinite number of varying shades of bad.
Daxton? You're being annoying.
Daxton. Shut the fuck up.
Do you actually believe that? He clicks his tongue, waving his hand dismissively.
No, it was an episode of...
I know, and no one likes that episode of Star Trek. No one likes the... I don't know. I hate that episode.
I like how you know what episode it is.
I know what episode is. The one with Infinite Enterprises. It was the evil... There's the one where they got evil Enterprise and they got mustaches.
Really?
I don't remember. I think there's facial hair, but
that's funny.
There's a bunch of different Enterprises that are all in the same space at the same time, and like one of them explodes at the beginning, like it was just escaping something bad, and it just detonates. There's like an Enterprise full of all the same people, but they're all like from like a more like warmongering Federation.
There's an episode of Seinfeld where they meet Bizarro Jerry and Bizarro everyone else. Because there is.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's my closest relation to what you're saying.
I just like I enjoy the hopeful nihilism of something like everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
But aside from that, almost any story that introduces multiverses, I hate in many cases.
I was really worried.
I get really frustrated by the nothing matters kind of feel to it in a story I'm supposed to keep following.
Well, I've always been a very firm believer in the nothing matters being amazingly optimistic, but I was concerned when initially watching Everything Everywhere All at Once because the concept is so... It can get so tedious and like heady to have to like sit there, and it can be really droll and boring. Like I mean, it's beautiful in a way if you want to sit there and like be on mushrooms and think about for like, 2 hours. But it's like it's not necessarily fun being presented because there's so many... It could just feel so chock full of... It's too much. Yeah. That movie did a really good job of like making it fun immediately and it being processable immediately. I was worried it was going to be like too much to try to retain in like in a way that ends up being more of a chore than it being a fun movie.
Yeah. Like the Echoverse leans into elements of that, but it does so in a way that's an interrogation of the characters in a specific way, and you're dealing with a really specific list of possible outcomes that all have a purpose in the narrative. But sci-fi usually just is like, oh yeah, it's just like vast infinite quantities and every possible choice that could have been made was made in a way that where I'm like, well,
that can get...
That's stupid.
Hopeful...
That's stupid.
Yeah.
It's like how...
Like, why do I care about that?
Well, it's like there...
I only have my one option.
If you look at Echo, the timelines that exist all exist because of choices that were made for comprehensible reasons.
Yeah.
What I hate about a lot of multiverse stuff is that they introduce it almost like there's infinite possible outcomes, and I'm like, no, because characters are still characters. There's a limited band of behaviors that they would potentially do. Like, one way to think about it is like Geralt of Rivia, the protagonist of the Witcher series. Like, when you make a RPG about Geralt, they have to write all the options you get in that game as being within the band of reasonable things that Geralt might do, because he's a character.
Yeah.
As opposed to blank slate Western RPG protagonist in like a Fallout game or whatever, or some other setting. Like those ones, it's like, oh, I could literally do anything. I could be completely evil or completely good or anything in between, because I'm not even a character. I'm just whatever. My character is the grand sum of the choices you make. But like no real people are that. You can't just be like, oh yeah, the infinite possibilities of the multiverse is you could be be a comically different person because you would for some reason pick every single possible dialogue option in a different universe. And I'm like, no. Everyone's within a certain band of who they are, basically.
Well, I mean, no, I know exactly what you mean, and there are like certain IPs or shows or things that will present it that way that ends up becoming amazingly depressing, because the idea of there not being a consistency of even self makes me say, well, okay, first of all, if these alternate universes don't affect me right now directly, it's a fun thing for me to think about, but why would I bother mulling on it if it makes no difference in my life currently? My life will exist and I'll make the choices I'll make, and then I'll die. And I don't need to think about the fact that Stephanie could have done all these different things. But the idea of thinking that Stephanie could be a completely different person in an alternate universe is so sad to me. Because like, I like to think that there is some consistency of self, or like a soul, you know? And granted, like, there are parts of me that doesn't even believe in that. But I gotta shut those parts of my brain off, because the idea of like determinism is, or like that kind of thing, is just so fucking sad that it's like it's very plausible and explainable and it makes a lot of sense, but boy, I don't like that. I don't like it. So I'm just gonna tuck that one away.
It's just the two things I have to constantly not acknowledge in order to enjoy Star Trek, is I have to not think about the in-universe fact that there's an infinite multiverse of outcomes, so everything feels small and pointless technically. And I have to ignore the idea that I'm pretty sure the teleporters are killing people every time that they're used, and no one's acknowledging it.
Which kind of also adds to the multiverse, like
a background noise, like terrifying detail. I'm still convinced that when you use a teleporter in Star Trek, you just end. That's it. Just from your perspective, you just die in that moment.
As a person that doesn't
and you don't come back.
Watch Star Trek, I like that because it's scary to think about. Like, it's fun for me. Like, I'm like, that's interesting.
Like, re-edit all of Star Trek Next Generation on Netflix, but every time anyone uses a teleporter, that episode just ends and it rolls credits. No matter how early or late they use a teleporter, the first time they use a teleporter, just have the episode end.
I won't get into it. But I would, if anyone likes this concept at all, if anyone likes the Star Trek teleporter concepts, if that interests you, I really recommend the new Cronenberg movie. Not David Cronenberg, but his son. I might be getting their names mixed up. There's two Cronenbergs. It's the young one. Just made a movie called Infinity Pool that has the hottest girl ever, Mia Goth, in it. But I really recommend it. And this is not a spoiler. But it's because this movie goes a lot of places. But it's about a society in which if you do a punishment, you can pay for a clone of yourself to be murdered as like repentance for that punishment, instead of having to go through the very sadistic punishments of this. Like it's an island of tribal individuals who have this tradition of killing people if they've done you wrong. If you're rich enough, you could pay the government to make a clone of you to suffer that punishment for you instead. And you think you know where that movie's going to go, but you don't.
I like how that started with, I'm not going to get into it.
I'm sorry. I got excited. My heart rate is like, it's higher now.
Infinity Pool.
Infinity Pool. Yes. It's on Hulu.
Ad Astra.
Infinity Pool, Daxton. He would like it.
Let's do the...
Actually, no, he probably wouldn't. He's not cool enough to like it.
Let's do the interaction again.
Sorry. No, it was an episode of...
Ad Astra.
Yeah.
Daxton perks a furless brow towards me at the sound of the front door opening. We turn and make our way towards the entrance hall next to the kitchen. I am very amused that this universe echoes simultaneously. It's wrong both about what Ad Astra will be and what Arches will be. Because it also had an ending that showed Cameron and it showed the characters from Arches in the beginning of Arches, but none of it matches up with what actually happens at the beginning of Arches or who they are. Like, they just rewrote the game, but they never rewrote Ad Astra to fit Ad Astra the game, which I don't know how you even could, because they'd have to acknowledge humans or something. And but particularly I do find it funny that they never rewrote the I think it was at the end of TJ's route. There was the hook for Arches, and they never rewrote it to fit who the characters from Arches actually are, David and Cameron, because that's neither of them's an influencer. They're not YouTubers. They dropped that completely. I am amused that I found out, though, apparently that those sprites, which were uncanny to look at because they looked similar but wrong compared to the Arches ones, apparently Paint Fox, the artist of Arches, did those sprites. So he tried to draw the characters. And so he's the person that does draw them normally, but he tried to draw them in a way that would emulate the style of the Echo sprites so far. Which is just a thing that everyone just kind of collectively tries to do, because the Echo sprites are drawn by several different people. Because it took so long to get the game done that it's too hard to unpack who even drew each character.
Everyone did a wonderful job.
The familiar heavy footfalls are a dead giveaway of who's here. Didn't know job interviews were a fucking group event. Everyone's giving him support this time. Now he's gonna throw up even harder.
Aww.
Flynn's this song. Imagine this song playing whenever you walked into a room.
Just as soon as I step my foot through the door, like...
Main character energy.
Yeah, I see it.
Flynn's tall form meanders in, carrying a few Tupperware containers in a plastic bag. He doesn't look at either of us.
Well, he wanted us to be here, and I didn't have anything else going on. He's in the shower now.
I fidget with the inside of my pockets, trying to look nonchalant. Timothy nonchalant. Jackson's blue, so stupid. That's so stupid.
I liked it.
It's so dumb.
I'll add it to my Charlize Theron.
Daxton's big blue eyes dart from me to Flynn, then back again. Then back to the... I can't do the joke again. Then back to the Flynn, then back to me.
I have to go pee in something. I'll be right back.
Fuck did you just say to me?
Daxton, it's a big house. I'm sure he has more than one shower. Or a bathroom, I mean.
Daxton has like a giant yaoi hand.
It doesn't even fit in his pocket.
It's a big hand.
Next time anyone, I need to excuse myself from a conversation. I'm just
I need to go
pee in something. I'll be back.
Just phrase things upsettingly, become ungovernable. Flynn's mouth twitches as if he's about to call Daxton back, but relents. Instead, he sets the bag on the kitchen island and begins rifling through it. His large tail twitches and he furrows his brow, seemingly trying really hard to concentrate on whatever he's doing. Which, as I look closer, is essentially just rearranging the Tupperware in the bag over and over again.
So awkward.
Flynn. He stops. He shifts his gaze towards me. I'm at a loss of what to say. Part of me wants to call him a fucking weird, hypocritical asshole. You do not get to call people out. Chase, you slut-shamed at the BDSM parlor. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You're the friend that no one invites over anymore.
The fact that was a choice too. I have to rewind and I'm like, why would Samuel have that choice? What does that mean? The other part, well, I'm not really sure about the other part yet. Maybe if I just broach the topic of Chase. None of this shit matters. He gestures between us. I'm not gonna try to speak cryptic to you here about feelings and shit. I just need to know you're gonna keep your promise, okay? Oh, with TJ. He's frowning down at me, but his expression is more uneasy than outright stern. Flynn. Fuck. His fist hits countertop. Next thing I know, he's moving around the kitchen and grabbing paper towels. Lasagna's goddamn leaking everywhere.
Oh, he made lasagna.
It's like a fucking menstrual pad in there. Why'd you bring lasagna? Because lard ass needs to eat something besides pizza and self-hatred for a change.
I mean, to be fair, lasagna and pizza are not that far removed from each other in terms of what is in them. So,
as opposed to you who eats salad and self-hatred? Shut the fuck up. At least I have a self. Oh. What's that supposed to mean? What was that supposed to mean? Flynn doesn't respond. The Gila busy with stacking paper towels underneath the bag before shoving it in the fridge.
Well, Flynn's been good at insulting because I would cry if someone said I was boring, but I'd also cry if someone said, like, that I had no sense of self.
Yeah. I hear the sound of hooves on floorboards and turn around. Carl had shuffled into the living room so quietly we didn't even notice.
So, how does it look?
He's perfect.
Oh, he's cute.
He looks good, but I'm more concerned with the fact that he looks more insecure than I've ever seen him. He shifts from hoof to hoof, not making eye contact at all, his fingers pulling at the rolled up sleeves.
Very nice. You kind of look like you're pledging Alpha Lambda, but it works. What?
Carl looks over at me and I give a start, realizing how bad my silence must have seemed. You look great, Carl.
But,
Daxton chuckles and Carl's eyes widen.
What? The beanie. Do you always wear that thing?
Carl shifts a paw to it.
Usually. You can't wear that. How do you even get it on? Damn.
Asking the real questions.
I've been wondering that this whole time,
with
Daxton.
his horn shape and everything. I'm like, how is that not just a thing that's tied on?
Well,
how could it be a beanie?
That's why we got mad, because we're like, it's definitely a bandana. It's definitely a bandana, because it has to be a fucking bandana.
It has to be. How the fuck does he get it over his horns? Does it have snaps?
It's stretchy. And my head fur looks awful. Seriously, you can't wear a beanie to an interview.
Daxton just rips it off and he just like spits on his hand and starts like fixing Carl's hair like a mom.
And then they can walk him up to the doors of the business, and Flynn will be there with the Tupperware, and he's like, here's your lunch, sweetheart.
I brought you lasagna. Carl's getting all fidgety again, so Flynn butts in. Don't wear it.
Oh, come on.
He looks sad and angry at the same time, which gives me pause.
You go to work with your shirt half off. I'll wear it if I want. This is my interview.
Usually Flynn would banter back, calling Carl a stupid dumbass or something of that nature, but he says nothing. After a couple seconds of silence, Daxton coughs. Daxton looks at me, then back to Carl.
Well, I reckon that's alright.
Carl sighs and shifts around again. We watch him expectantly.
Dudes, this feels weird is all. It's new. You'll get used to it.
I pull out my phone and look at the time. Alright, we really need to head out. We should get there early. As we head to the door, Daxton makes as if to follow us. Flynn turns around to face him as Carl heads out the door. Hey, Dax. He stops.
What?
After the interview, me, Chase, and some of our other friends, we're going to be doing something. Wait, is Carl on board with this plan too? Dax raises a brow.
Oh?
Could you, fuck off for a bit? Jesus, Flynn. Part of me wouldn't mind a guy with Daxton's attitude present at what will surely be the biggest downer of the week.
Yeah, but think about Daxton. That would not be fun to be there.
No, it wouldn't. Daxton has repeatedly shown he does not deal with these kinds of conflicts well at all.
Yeah, he'd honestly be disadvantageous. It would be disadvantageous to have him there, but also, it would ruin his day.
Yeah.
But Flynn should have definitely phrased that better and just been like, yeah, we're doing a thing, but it's going to be kind of emotionally charged and personal.
Yeah.
So if you can be gone for a while, like, we'll hook up again later. Like,
Hey, sweetheart, make yourself scarce.
Here's $5 for the movie.
It's twice now out of 5 routes we have to just kind of awkwardly get rid of, like, we're at Carl's house, we just have to awkwardly get rid of the route character.
Yeah.
Hey, Raven, you want to just, like, stare at a wall for 6 hours? We'll be back. Sure. And to keep Flynn in check.
Well, it was what's the deer's name again? The little deer with glasses who was there to watch fucking the horrible ending of TJ's route.
I almost wanted to say Dalton. No, that's not Julian.
Julian, yeah. I mean, I thought it was awkward that he was there for the final part of the treasure hunt, and he gets to see Carl get amazingly hurt.
Yeah, well, that was a bad time. But that was a surprise for everyone but Chase. So that's how you get collateral damage of everyone just being there. And then just no one wants to see or talk to Chase ever again. Congratulations, Chase. You did something so fucked up, you broke the calamity. It didn't happen.
I know, but that was like the one time the side character was there for something really pivotal, and I was like, why is he here?
Yeah, it's just a real bad time for him. Daxton doesn't budge, giving Flynn an indiscernible look. After a while, Flynn just sighs, rubbing his brow. It's got to do with personal stuff.
Oh, really? See, why didn't you just say that? Exactly. Thank you, Daxton. That's what I was saying. Because
why do you suck all the time, Flynn? Also, poor Daxton is just trying to hang out with these people, and it always gets too personal all the time.
Well, and yeah.
Like getting ambushed by the Leo situation and just be like, what do I do with this? You guys literally just say horrible things about this person all the time. And then Daxton, in his own moment of fucking up, acknowledged that, which was not the right response.
No, definitely not.
It's like, good things, I hope. Not really, but Daxton.
That's the worst. He's a liability to have around.
You wouldn't want to come. There's gonna be some heavy shit.
Are you the heavy shit in question?
Flynn says nothing. After a moment, Daxton just exhales and shakes his head.
Just let me know how the interview goes.
As the salamander passes me, he speaks in a hushed tone.
You deserve better, man.
Me? Specifically? Out of all the people here, deserve better? I guess because he means we're fucking?
Well, yeah.
I don't think that Chase is the one letting things down here.
I mean, I don't think Daxton knows enough about any of us to say that any of us deserve any more than what we have.
Admittedly, Daxton knows a lot about Flynn, probably.
Yeah, but he doesn't know enough about Chase. Chase is an asshole.
He has no idea what Chase deserves. Yeah.
The only person he might be right about would maybe be Carl. He doesn't know shit about anyone else.
No. I look down at my feet before heading out to the car. You don't. Take down by Samuel. Yeah, there's just a web of who slept with each other that connects everyone in the entire friend group except Jenna. I mean, except TJ.
Who did Jenna sleep with?
Jenna and Leo and Flynn have all slept with Chase. And Leo and Flynn have slept with each other.
Yeah, but doesn't Jenna only fuck Chase in her route?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, the web of these characters is extremely connected.
I mean,
and there's just TJ floating.
You can argue that in any route, Flynn and Leo have fucked each other.
Yeah.
And in any route,
There's already
Leo and Chase have fucked each other, obviously.
Yeah, there's already a Chase. There's already a line connecting Chase to Leo, to Flynn, to Carl. No matter
to
what.
Carl, yes, to Carl. Yes, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, because they fucked canonically too. But yeah, the option of Chase fucking Carl, the option of Chase fucking Jenna, those are options.
Yeah.
They don't always happen.
Chase also never fucks Carl. Carl just
Yeah, he never fucks
does
Carl.
something with Chase, who's also not Chase.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who's
also
not
Carl.
I mean,
Carl.
It's Mr. Hendricks, the 11th or whatever, has a very aggressive session. It's not quite that.
An aggressive session. I like that.
Carl still looks confused after Flynn, and I come at. Okay, yeah, this was wrong about where the sentence was going. Carl still looks confused after Flynn and I come out to the car without Daxton.
Where's Dude Man?
I make a show of buckling my seatbelt. We'll talk about it after your interview. I'm just gonna give you this weird floating question to hover over and stress you out while you're dealing with this other thing.
Yeah, just literally just be like, I had to go do a thing. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Also, come out without Daxton implies that Daxton didn't just, like, leave.
Is Daxton
Is Daxton also staying in Carl's house just like Raven did?
Yeah, maybe. Carl's house is so big, he can't even keep track of how many people are in there. He has a bunch of the guest characters just hidden in his house. Doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He's not coming?
But he's my accountability buddy.
He's the guy who knows the guy who runs the place. Oh!
Yeah, well, you weren't going to be bringing him inside with you anyway.
I guess, but I mean, that might have actually been helpful.
Carl stares at the dashboard as I back out, pretending to be distracted so I can muster up something reassuring. You know, Carl, you should talk about some of your art while you're in there. I hear it's good to look like you have a passion, especially one that's tangentially related to what you do. To be honest, I have no clue what sort of skills you need at a print shop. I look in the rearview mirror at the Ram, who still isn't saying anything. Hopefully not many.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That's not nice.
Chase thinks about everyone in his friend group with very mean thoughts. They all leak in there. They're not good. By the way, Flynn's nostrils flare as if he's bracing himself. The big lizard has to back his seat up all the way to give himself enough leg room in the tiny sedan. I had to stop by City Hall before we do the thing. Why? He responds with a wary dryness. I need to scan some photos to my thumb drive. I forgot to do it while I was last there. I know everything I need is. Shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. Yeah, okay. Got my key card in my wallet. Flynn scratches his groin idly, looking out the window as we pass the diner. I'm kind of surprised he didn't protest more. Carl stays quiet as we drive through the rest of Echo, and I swerve to avoid all the potholes. As I'm merging onto the highway, Flynn speaks up. I cooked you some shit to celebrate you joining the workforce and such. Fancy-ass organic store ramen with this spiced sausage stuff and lasagna, same recipe that my uncle used.
That's, premature, right?
If there's a food reward waiting for you, your fat ass can do anything.
No.
I resist the urge to nod in agreement. Chase!
Hope you're right.
We fall back into silence, and it stays that way for the remaining 20-minute drive. Carl gets more nervous the closer we get. I can see his knees bouncing out of the corner of my eye as he stares out the window. Flynn reaches back and puts a hand on one of them as we pull into the parking lot of the print shop.
Uh-huh.
The Gila mutters something to the Ram. I can't make out any of it. 'Cause they're making out. You look awesome, and you're gonna do amazing. Carl starts taking deep breaths, staring out the windshield. Just be yourself. Everyone loves a relaxed employee.
I wish you'd let me have a smoke before we left.
Yeah, going into an interview smelling like pot. Great idea. Well, he's probably got edibles. I'm sure he's diversified his portfolio.
Yeah, in one of the routes he takes edibles. But they fuck him up really bad, remember? Like, worse than smoking pot does. In fact, no, I think that was I think it's when he broke our camera. That's when he broke our camera. So yeah, so he shouldn't. Did
he take edibles earlier on this route?
Yeah.
Or did he take edibles during that time where he was really mean to TJ?
I don't remember that. I don't remember what he was on during that.
In that scene, he was just cross-faded on like multiple things at once and just out of his mind.
But I think specifically, I know at least in one of the routes he specifically takes edibles, and I think it was this one because I think that's why he broke our camera.
Yeah, I mean, edibles might have helped instead of this, at least.
They have these nice little slow-release THC CBD capsules now. That would have really helped out. Honestly, I probably would have let him smoke a little bit before the interview. Just make him dress afterwards.
Yeah. Carl giggles nervously, but otherwise doesn't move. He wants to go in with you? Carl shakes his head quickly, unbuckling his seatbelt as he opens the car door.
No, man. I'll be fine.
Okay, cool. I'll be waiting. He looks to Flynn, who just gives him a little nod. I grin at him, but he just shuts the door and ambles up to the print shop. He pushes on the doors, and when they don't move, he pushes harder, shaking the glass. I start to open my door and tell him to pull instead.
Oh.
But he seems to figure it out before I have to and disappears inside.
Oh, baby Carl.
Oh, Carl. Fucking hell. I look over and Flynn has his palms over his face. I sigh, leaning my seat back. I try to take a nap because it feels like I haven't slept in ages for some reason. Though the heat beating down through the window starts becoming too uncomfortable. I turn the AC back on, then shuffle through the stations, but I only find twangy country and mariachi. I look at the time. 10:10 a.m. If the interview started on time, then he was probably almost done with it by now. I sort of want to go inside, but I know Carl wouldn't want me to. I settle back again and close my eyes, trying to get some relief from the failing AC. Then the door rattles and I hear haphazard hoof steps. I open my eyes, but no one's there. Flynn doesn't seem to have noticed. His own eyes closed. I do catch some movement disappearing around the side of the store, and I lean around to get a better look. I wait, but Carl, at least I think it's Carl, doesn't come back from around the corner. Looking around, I slowly open my door. Carl? Flynn awakens with a start, looking around some. He out yet? Nothing. Carl? I yell it, but he still doesn't come out. Feeling some dread build up in my stomach, I get out of the car and slowly walk around the side of the building. Flynn joins me. It feels weirdly like callback-ish to have this scene happen again this late in our run.
Yeah, no, yeah, it seems so far away now, but it'll be interesting having Flynn there too.
The hell's going on? It's an alley between the print shop and what I think is a laundromat. Nothing in the alley except for a few dumpsters and clumps of garbage. Our photo reference doesn't have an alley. Don't think about that.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I step carefully around puddles covered in oil slick and wonder if maybe he just really wanted to smoke. Carl? Something shifts on the other side of one of the dumpsters and I hear sniffling. Wordlessly, I walk around the dumpster to the other side. Carl's bent over, his back to me, paws on his knees. His whole body is shaking, and his breaths are ragged. Holy shit, Carl! Strong reaction, overdone a bit.
Carl...
Not my first go-to chase.
You think he'd be like, it's okay, buddy.
You're like, oh my god, you threw up?
Yeah, wait, he yells so the person in the print shop could hear. just like as I said earlier, I'll be like, Carl, the interviewer made you cry? Did Stephanie interview you?
Yeah. Before I can do anything, Flynn's at his side.
You're supposed to make her cry.
You okay, man? What happened? The stench of vomit hits my nose, and I don't need to look closely to know what the puddle between Carl's hooves is. Carl makes sure to turn his face away from us, not saying a word. Shit. I dash back to the car and open the passenger door so I can get to the glove box. I pull out a few napkins before hurrying back to the Ram. When I return, Flynn is quietly rubbing his back. He takes them from me wordlessly and starts wiping his face. The last time I'd seen Carl like this was just last year, when he had a panic attack at school. I didn't think he'd have that problem now, after all the therapy and time away. I feel kind of useless just standing there watching them. He's at least not hyperventilating. The Ram has his horns pressed up against the wall, taking deep breaths as he wipes his face again.
Why do I suck at everything?
He says it quietly, between gasps, but I can make it out. Not everything. Come on, let's go. He starts to pull on his arm, but he yanks it from him violently.
Don't touch me!
Flynn and I are stunned into silence. I just stare at him, mouth open. He glances at me, and his eyes are red, and for once, it's not because of the weed. Carl starts off towards the car on his own, spitting off to the side as he does. Carl, what happened? He whirls on me.
I fucked up, obviously. Any more fucking questions?
A few, yeah. His voice breaks apart on the last sentence and he turns away from us as his face starts to screw up. My stomach feels hollow as I watch Carl get into the car. I've never, ever seen him like this. He immediately hunches forward towards the driver's seat, head in his paws. Behind the driver's seat. I slowly walk up to the driver's side door, feeling like shit myself. Flynn joins me. The Gila tugs at the scales around his chin, teeth grit. His expression is just bizarre, like intermittent smiling in between almost nauseous-looking face contortions. Fuck. We sit for a while, waiting to see if Carl is going to say anything. He does.
I'm sorry.
He blurts it out through his fingers. I look over at him, scared to say anything in case I say the wrong thing.
It was a disaster, dudes.
He takes in a deep, shuddering breath.
You could tell I wasn't into it right away. I was awkward as fuck.
He leans back and tugs at his shirt.
This isn't me. And they knew it. And it got me nervous. I've been nervous ever since I put on these clothes. Since I got this stupid trim.
We sat in silence for a long time. A long, long time until Carl finally looked at me and smiles.
God damn it, we all knew this was gonna happen, right? Just like at Pueblo with you, Chase, and with your Uncle Flynn. I'm just a fuck up.
Nah, this is my fault, man. I told you I was gonna coach and I never got around to it. And I'm the tit dirt who made Dak stay behind. Maybe he could have helped? I don't fucking know. The Gila takes in a seething breath. You can't be expected to go into this shit blind and spit out exactly what some mid-level manager named Skyle wants to hear.
Skyle. I'm very sorry if you're out there if your name is Skyle. That's a stupid fucking name. I don't like it at all. It's not Skylar and it's not Kyle.
No, it's upsetting.
It's upsetting me.
Words fucked like that. Just banging walls sometimes.
No, dude, I'm the one that screwed up the interview.
Carl settles back in his seat.
Now with that fuck up out of the way.
I sigh, looking out at the hazy horizon, in the direction of where I know Echo is. On to the next. None of this fucking matters, Carl. Don't worry.
I just imagine Carl being like, "Can I still have that ramen and that lasagna? Because it sounded really good." No,
we're throwing it out.
No! That fancy ramen sounded good.
No ice cream. Flynn gives me a look, then closes his eyes. I don't know if Flynn believes what he's saying. So, with that, I turn on the ignition and pull out of the parking lot, leaving the print shop and its alley far, far behind us. Now it's time to do homework on a project that totally gets finished sometimes, I promise.
Dude, that would be the biggest twist of the entire game.
If he ever did his project while he was an Echo in any real way.
I would be flabbergasted.
It's the secret 6th route. It's like when you beat all the other routes in Resident Evil 6 and then you unlock Ada Wong and you get to learn the real secrets behind Echo. But instead of all the secrets behind Echo, it's the most boring route possible where Chase just does his project and then nothing bad happens.
There's some like secret input you can put into like the game and you get to see the final projects. I'd lose my fucking mind.
He's just so mediocre that he actually does finally in the true ending do his entire project.
And he gets an F on it anyway.
He gets a C. It's just like just
a C minus.
Like, why did you try?
There's like a bunch of typos in it and grammatical errors, and like his cropping's bad on his pictures, and like it's just like a really mediocre project. And we get to see it.
Wow, very good, Chase. That's going on the fridge. It's quiet inside. Not that I expected any noise or anything, but still. Flynn's desk looks pretty clean except for a stack of documents labeled March 1st County Code Amendment Board Review.
Wow, exciting.
Upon closer inspection, there also appears to be a book propped up against its monitor. Municipal Economic Development Free Market Solutions for Public Problems. A sticky note is attached to the front, with flowery cursive handwriting that states, "Read this." What we need to do is we need to privatize all of the public systems, and then nothing goes wrong from that. Politics.
That sounds sarcastic.
That sounds libertarian. I hear Flynn step up beside me, seeming to notice me gawking. He doesn't say anything, though. Instead, he just walks over to his computer chair and takes a seat. Look, you're dressed for the part. You look like you work here, Carl.
Yeah, just okay. Like, just sit down and wear a name tag that says Flynn, and just do my job for me as I leave.
Yeah, I'll just fish all day.
My aunt won't even notice.
I'll be your trophy wife.
Aww.
Carl ambles in after him. If I didn't know better, I'd think he was high, judging by how puffy and red his eyes are. You don't actually come inside here too often, do you, Carl? Carl shakes his head.
Still really weird that you're a secretary.
Carl half mumbles. Clerk. He's not living up to the image in his head of that Sydney had of him never working gay jobs.
Yeah. I mean, and then the half unbuttoned shirt really doesn't add to it not being gay.
Least gay acting person you've ever met.
Look at him now.
Flynn rests his elbows on the desk, rubbing his fingers together. You know, elections are coming up here soon. There's a few positions up for grabs. He looks to Carl, and it takes a few seconds for Carl to look back and get the meaning.
That's cool, I guess.
Flynn opens his mouth, pauses, then speaks. Maybe even the clerk position. I was heading towards the mail room, but that catches my attention. I stop. What? You think you'll be, like, voted out? Flynn shrugs. I might not run.
Flynn's just actually so bad at his job that they're, like, edging him out.
I didn't think his job was elected, honestly. Maybe I forgot that detail.
No, he said that earlier, but then when I found out what he did, I was confused, because I was like, that doesn't seem like an elected position.
Carl lets out a little huffy noise, sniffing and wiping his nose with the inside of his shirt. So, you're gonna go back to unloading freight? Flynn doesn't respond immediately, as if weighing something in his mind. Oh, I'm weighing in my mind is the fucking Fault in Our Stars reference now, because you've called back to that scene.
Yeah. Once again, what would Sydney say about him not seeming very gay?
I love it. It humanizes Flynn so much. It's
does,
an incredible detail.
It does, but not in the way I wanted.
No, it's great. There's nothing more realistic about a character than them revealing to themselves to have disappointing media taste.
Yeah, I guess so. There was no one. I think there's no one in this world who's perfect in that way.
He pushes the power button on his desktop tower, and the whir of the internal fan breaks the silence. I may not even be here. Even Carl looks up now.
Huh?
The Gila seems to grimace slightly, his maw pulled into a sneer as if whinging at himself.
That's another one of those words that is used.
Yeah. Your mouth's moving, and you're complaining. That's whinging.
Whinging.
Fucking... Chase, you gonna get your shit scanned or not? I straightened some, not really having expected him to shift focus and snap at me.
I feel...
Like, save at all of these...
I mean, good. You're doing your professional job. Now, granted...
We're, like, required by law to pry.
Yeah, you have to pry.
You can't just drop that on people.
If pry is an option that I saw in front of my face every day, I'd be prying everywhere.
What the hell? What does he mean by that? Flynn, what? He's staring at me, and it's like all the air has been sucked out of the room. He saw. He saw it happen.
Dang it! He saw you and I like talking about prying.
Yeah. I swallow. Are you going somewhere? Flynn looks to Carl as if expectant. Carl blinks, meeting Flynn's gaze.
Are you, dude?
Flynn's sharp stare lulls, but only slightly. I don't know yet.
What the fuck?
Carl, it really doesn't... Shit. See the way Chase is acting? Carl looks at me a moment, then back to Flynn.
No.
His voice is quiet.
You're gonna leave too?
I don't want to leave, Carl. Flynn shifts in his seat, his tail curled tight around the base of his chair. Carl just seems still. I can't even see him breathing. Jesus fuck, Chase. All I did was ask. Flynn reaches into his desk drawer and pulls out a can of lemon lime soda. Ew, it's warm. Holding it up in Carl's direction. Want a warm Sprite?
It's like Carl's a child. It's like, here's a soda, champ.
Like he's jingling keys.
Yeah, be distracted by this soda.
You did something alright. Just give me a minute, alright? I need to talk to Lardass. Do your shit. I rub the space between my brow and step out of the room. Well, that's curious.
What is he?
He wouldn't tell us, but he saw. He knows that Sam wants to know.
He doesn't trust us now, that's why he shoot us out of the room. He's like, I need to talk to a real person.
Yep. Not this NPC.
Yeah, ew.
Not even actually, I keep wanting to say that, but literally the opposite. A literal PC. The actual
that
player
is funny,
character
actually,
that is being piloted.
To think of it that way.